Our first speaker is Landon Springer, and he's from Kansas City, the metro area there, Kansas. He is a part of our Monday night SEALs study, which we do on Zoom. And he and Larry and Jeremy are also doing a podcast that we are launching. And Jason and Greg are helping with that. And so give it up for Landon. It's so fun having somebody here in person, from our Zoom. And Landon, I'm seriously going to give you 20 minutes. And there you go.
Thank you. You're doing it. Sure. Is there a better one I should use? I'll use this one. Perfect. Hi, everybody. So I've met a lot of you already. I would love to meet everybody who I haven't already met. We'll have some time after, I think, to do that. I'm overwhelmed by everything, by the hospitality. Larry came all the way out to Denver to pick me up late last night. And after driving, I don't know how much you drove for the retreat, but I'm sure it comes as a shock to no one, but he and Vicky both are amazing at hospitality and making me feel welcome. So, and I've seen the same from everybody else. So it's been great. Wow, I think it's amazing that it's overwhelming that you would put a microphone in front of me and have me speak. But I'm honored and humbled by that. So thank you very much for having me. So. Is it called a Snapchat or a Snap Talk? Snapchat? Okay. No trademark issue. Snap Talk. Well, so my joke so far, and forgive me if I've already made this to you, but is that I've steered away from Snapchat until tonight. This is where that all ends. Okay, so the Snap Talk that I would like to share about is something that spoke to me a lot, and maybe it'll speak to you, or maybe not, but we'll see. So if the Holy Spirit speaks to you, awesome. But what I'd like to share about is the verse in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, talks about how God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And this is a little bit of an extension from last week from your overcoming talk. But I've personally struggled a little bit with feeling intimidated in new environments. I get butterflies in my stomach if I'm speaking in front of people. So bear with me. But this seems like a very gracious environment, so thank you for that. But I heard something really interesting that mirrors this about how the brain works, and I wanted to share that with you because I think that when we discover things about scientific truths about the body and about how it works, it's not in conflict with the Creator. I think we've done this weird thing where we've separated the Creator from His creation to where God's over here and science is over here. But I don't think that's the way it works. So maybe this will speak to you as well. So God doesn't give us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So the fear response. Who has heard of fight or flight? You guys know fight or flight? There's also, I guess they're trying to add to that list, there's also fawn and freeze, but I don't know anything about those, so we'll stick with fight or flight. But if something happens that stresses you out, your body tends to prepare for action, either to run away or to fight. And there are a couple of hormones that get released, adrenaline, cortisol, and it prepares you to act. And they're really important, but they're really hard on your body. And they tend to shut down everything that isn't essential for one of those two things, running or fighting. So it actually shuts down digestion. So you don't process food. You don't store it up because your body goes, nope, that's not that important. You don't really need that right now because it's life or death. You don't need to be dealing with that meal right now. Another thing it does is it causes your heart to pump really hard. Try to get oxygen into your lungs and to get ready. It also harms reproduction because you're not really worried about the continuation of your family if you got to deal with the immediate threat, right? So I always believed that stress is really bad for you, that it's really hard on your health. which it's true. If you stay in a prolonged period of stress, it is really hard on your body. It can lead to heart disease and ultimately shorten your life. But it doesn't have to be that way, because God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So now let's look at power, love, and a sound mind. So there's also another system in your body called the approach system that uses different hormones, serotonin and dopamine. And who here has heard of those? We tend to, Snapchat's actually a really good example of that. If we're not careful, that reward system can get hijacked for things that aren't actually good for us. But I believe that the Creator created us with that to reinforce the things that He wants for us. So the growth response is actually your body rising to the challenge. And so we'll go through a couple examples of this. But say a professional athlete, they get really nervous right before a big performance. Their body prepares to act. But if they get really stressed out, fight or flight doesn't help you. But if you lean into it, you can grow. And so this idea of overcoming, I think a lot of times we face these challenges in our lives that intimidate us, and we feel like, well, there's no way God could use me in that way, or there's no way that this situation is going to get resolved, or there's no way this relationship is going to get restored. And we start to shrink back in fear. But He gives us a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. And I believe that the world today thrives on fear. If you're plugged into the news, if you watch it as much as I used to, you'll get freaked out all the time. And I don't think that's the state that He wants us to be in, to be worried about what's happening in Washington, worried about what's happening everywhere. That's not what He had in mind for the church, and for us to be constantly on guard, constantly in fight or flight. It'll shorten our lives if we let it, but I don't think we should let it. You agree? Okay, so a couple of examples. If you're like me, I love examples, so I'm going to go through a couple. So there was a study, there's a Harvard study where they conducted an interview, and half of the people, and I don't know if they knew I don't think they knew they were in a study, which is what it is. But so half of the people they told, if you get too stressed out, because this is an intimidating environment, you're gonna get nervous, it's gonna affect your performance, you're gonna bomb the interview if you get stressed out. So do your best not to get stressed out. The other half, they said, that is actually supposed to happen. You get butterflies. And when that happens, that's just your body getting ready for what's about to happen. And that's a really good thing. So lean into it, and you'll perform better than you would otherwise. And then once it's over, you can go back to a state of rest. The immediate challenge is over. You can go back to your baseline. And guess what happened? So the first half bombed the interview because they believed that was going to happen. So they got super nervous. And I bet we've all experienced that at some point in time. Public speaking actually intimidates me, and that's like I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling the adrenaline and the cortisol, and it's actually kind of fun. I actually kind of love this. I love that God can work through me anyway, despite the nervousness and despite the perceived inadequacy. God can still work through it, and I love that. But the other half did amazing. They did great in the interview. And so what they realized was that they had been teaching people all along that stress is bad for you. It will hurt you. It will shorten your life. It will be hard on your heart, hard on your gut, hard on everything. But it turns out that what you believe about the challenge, this challenge is too big for me. This challenge, I'm not gonna be good at this. I'm going to fail. If you believe that, your body will make it true. But if you believe that God gives you the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind, that can also become true. Okay, so another example, David and Saul. I'm sure everyone in this room has heard of David and Saul. But Goliath was taunting them for 40 days and 40 nights. And you'd think that Saul, their king, he stood tall, he was strong. Some historians think he was 6'3", just really strong, like a warrior. He went and hid in the castle for 40 days and 40 nights while this giant just taunted him. And then this little shepherd boy comes along and goes, I know that the source of the strength isn't me. And he takes care of business. That's amazing to me, that the person who you would think had all the credentials, everything you'd need to be able to dispatch that threat, he was the one who hid because he thought he had to do it on his own strength. But the little shepherd boy, who he had already seen God work through him to protect the flock multiple times, and he's like, I think he can do it again, and I think he can do it through me. And think about that. Out of all the people, the whole army, the leader of the army, not a single one of them was willing to go out and face Goliath. It took a shepherd boy to go do it. Not because he was strong and powerful, but because he knew who he was serving. He knew who the Lord was and his strength, right? He knew the source. Okay, another example. Believe it or not, I've started some weight training, which really intimidates me. The first time I tried it, this is with my longtime friend Nick. This is going to be recorded. I might send this to him after. We started at like 80 pounds because we're like, we got to start small. We're going to hurt ourselves, and we're going to just work our way up. But imagine if we had tried to just lift 200 pounds day one. We would have hurt ourselves. We would have failed, and we would have probably never tried it again. And I believe that is what our Heavenly Father does for us as well. He says, I know what you're currently capable of and what you can handle, and I know what would cause you to grow, and I know what would be way too much for you. And I trust him now with that. Well, I'm learning to trust him with that. The evidence is that I'm here holding a microphone. But let me say this differently. Imagine if you're teaching somebody how to do something, a little kid. You wouldn't do that to them. You wouldn't give them 200 pounds day one. You'd give them what they could handle, get a little confidence, and do a little bit more than that. And then you grow. And that's the growth response kicks in, the way that God designed our bodies to work. Serotonin and dopamine kicks in, your muscles get stronger, you build a pathway in your body to continue doing that particular action again and again. But if you're given something you can't handle, you shrink back, you get afraid, and you shrink, right? Okay, another example, I'm terrified of heights. Anyone here terrified of heights? So I thought, you know what? I want to put this into practice. And I got a membership at a rock climbing gym and started climbing because it terrified me. But the fact that it terrified me also made me feel alive because I wasn't going to shrink back. I wasn't going to let that thing that there was something in me that wanted to do it. And I'm not saying I'm not going to go free solo. I'm not going to do any of that. Like, I think the fear response can be good in certain situations. But if there's something that intimidates you in particular, I believe there's something about that you're wired for, that God has for you. So if I'm intimidated by public speaking, maybe public speaking is exactly what I need to do. Like, why is that the thing in particular that gets to me, you know? So I started rock climbing. And one thing that I really love about rock climbing is you can tell where your current level is, and you can tell what would be too easy for you and too hard for you. And you can push yourself just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I believe that overcoming is like that we'd love to just snap our fingers and get to the promised land and get over the problem. But real growth happens usually, incrementally, bit by bit. You're faithful day in and day out. You start lifting at 80 pounds and then go to 82 pounds and then go to 85 pounds. You know what I mean? And yet we want that end result, and we get frustrated if we don't get there on the timeline that we expected to get there. But those little things that we do again and again and again and again build up over time. And over the course of a lifetime, it can change a ton of things. Like, imagine what could change if we're faithful just a little bit at a time, day in and day out. Last example I want to give, the butterfly feeling, which used to really freak me out. And then I heard there's a guy named Rob Bell, if anyone's heard of him. He has a podcast I really like. And he basically said, if you're not consistently feeling butterflies in your stomach, you're shying away from the things that you shouldn't be shying away from. That if you feel that feeling, that means you're right where you need to be, doing what you need to be doing, and you're growing. If you're not feeling that, that's probably something to look at. So that totally reframed it for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, when you were handing me the microphone, I'm like, I got butterflies. But wait, that's a good thing. Are you? Hey, it's a good thing, right? Because you're right where you need to be doing right what you need to be doing. Okay, I don't think that was 20 minutes or anywhere close to it.
You have 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay, well, we're going to just extend the Q&A an extra 5 minutes and 10 seconds or so. Okay.
So, here.
Remember, if you have a question, go up to the mic and exchange.
So, Greg, I'm going to give him this mic, and you don't have to put it on, you can just hold it. So
Okay.
they can, others can use
Yeah, is anyone? Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions?
If you're new, you can ask questions. You don't have to be a veteran here at Joyland, or there's no protocol. We just use the mic, so A, it creates a relationship here, and B, the Zoomers can hear.
I'll just say in advance, I'm not an expert in neurochemistry, so I may or may not have the answer.
That's okay.
Okay, good.
So do you have any tips on how to make those butterflies go away? Just start to pray, maybe?
Do you
Is that
want
what
them?
you do? Do you want them to go away?
I don't think I want them to go away
Okay.
because I think it's a
Just
reminder.
embrace them.
I think so. You lean into it. You go, okay.
And then think,
This
oh yeah,
is-
this is
I
good.
feel alive right now.
I'm
This
alive,
Is, I'm
okay.
right where I need to be.
Cool.
Now, I do think really quick, if you're so nervous that you can't do the thing that you can't do that thing yet, just take a smaller step. In my experience, start with the really easy climb. That there was a first time I climbed, there was a little 3-year-old who climbed without a rope and did it in about 10 seconds, and I was like, okay, if she can do that, then I think I could do it too. So I instead of going for the like intermediate climb that my ego wanted me to go for, I did the same one as the 3-year-old just to start there, and that worked. So I don't know for sure, but I think that we can do that in a lot of areas. So.
Okay. First a comment, then a question.
Okay.
So the fear subject,
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I had 2 quotes on my office wall at one time, and or they were actually small articles, but the first one was Michael Jordan on fear. And he believed that fear came from a lack of focus. And he would give the example when he's at the free throw line and everybody's just bonkers screaming. If he didn't take himself back to that place where he was in the gym just shooting those free throws over and over and over, he didn't feel like he could do anything. So I love that. That's a great one. But my question for you would be, what was the switch? Was there a switch? Was it gradual? Was it something that you were becoming aware of and just go, hey, you know what? I want this to change. I don't want this to dictate the rest of my life. Or how did that play out?
So what got me to want to rock climb and want to face the fears?
Yeah. Was it incremental? Or was it just like, hey, you know what? Today is a new day and we're doing things differently?
So I think that's a great question. I'm having to go back and think through this. So the thing that I remember really switching to, okay, I need to start doing this intentionally, because I would find myself in situations that would intimidate me, and then would just like in that moment decide whether to lean in or bail. But I wasn't doing it intentionally. And so what got me to do it intentionally was actually, this is gonna sound a little cliche, but it was a breakup where I was really surprised that I thought I did everything right. I thought that I thought I was a really good boyfriend. I thought there's no way that this breakup would happen, right? And afterward, I realized, wait. So I thought that if I did everything right, that life would be safe and the outcomes would be what I wanted. But I'm not guaranteed that. So if I'm not guaranteed that, then that means it's not going to be safe. And if it's not going to be safe, then I might as well be doing things that bring life, or that I enjoy, or that make me feel alive, that help step toward who God designed me to be. Instead of, like, if I'm not guaranteed safety anyway, why not? What am I waiting for? Am I waiting for some moment where I'm just gonna be some superhero that never gets intimidated? Something clicked where I was just like, I'm not guaranteed, so I might as well go for it. So yeah, it's a great question. Anybody else have a question? Okay. Well,
Hold on. I gotta put my hand up.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm not used to looking at the screen. I should be, because I've been on that side of it.
Becky, your voice sounds so deep.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Dan. Hey, I have a corollary to your statement. Me and my wife went through a really difficult thing, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I had to deal with some stuff. And actually, I got to the place where to put it harshly, it's like there's great freedom in knowing you're completely screwed no matter what you do. And so I learned it's like, well, I'm going to do what I see the Lord lead, and it doesn't matter what. And I just need to do that and quit worrying about other people's opinions. So, because there was no hope in kind of where we were at that time. So it's like, well, just going to do what I think is right and what the Lord's calling me to do. And that's it.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Yeah, I think baked into that, I used to have this belief that if I went to church 3 times a week and paid my tithes and prayed and read my Bible, that God would just make everything turn out, you know? And then when things started life started happening, I was like, wait, hold on, that's not how it works. And I started believing that, well, then maybe God's not actually with me. Like, because if he was with me, then things would work out, right? And it never occurred to me, well, it occurred to me much later, he was actually with me all along, but in my head, I thought that it would look different. I thought that him being with me would mean that I never fell down. But instead, him being with me means that when I fall down, he's right there to help me get back up. He's helping guide the steps. He's not saying you're not going to fall down. You're going to skin your knee, but I'll show you how to be a little smarter about it next time, or I'll show you how to put a Band-Aid on it, or I'll show you how to get back up. And like that was a different relationship than things are going to just be perfect all the time. There was an ability to take risks now because he's going to be there with you. And I thought that was really cool. What's that?
One's a tightrope and one's more like a playground.
Yes. Yeah, I like that. Al.
Yeah. Look, that is spot on, and it's amazing you say that and your journey. Thank you for sharing, because it's those tough times, it's those challenges when we grow, and it's like if we don't pick up the weights, we're not going to grow the muscles. If we're not going to do something, we're not going to, it's like climbing, as you said, the fear's not going to go away. So it's sort of like, wow, brother, that's spot on. That's thank you for sharing that, because that's when we grow.
And that just reminded me, oh yeah, do you have a question?
No, I just have something to add, really.
Yeah, please do.
Hi.
Hi.
This is my first time here, but I just kind of thought of something while you were talking. The verses that came to mind in my head, I don't know exactly what they are, but one is that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And then I can't remember exactly what the other one is. That's just the nerves getting to me right now. Maybe it'll come back to me. But my fiance he's going to go skydiving with his friends for their bachelor party, for his bachelor party. Mm-hmm. And they were like kind of all freaked out about it. He was talking about like the statistics and everything, and I was like, hey, it doesn't matter what the percent chance is, what's gonna happen and everything. It's all just God's will, and that just makes me think that it's not this world that we're supposed to fear, but just knowing that it's all in his hand and that the only one that we really should fear is like his power and how he has control over everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
My name's Delaney. I don't know if I said that.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Yeah, that's really good. Like maybe if we were afraid of wasting what he's called us to or what he's made us capable of or what he's, we're more afraid of that than we're afraid of the thing that we have to overcome, you know? Al, there was something you reminded me of one other thing. I think I had a hard time imagining God being good without things working out. And then when it was actually that breakup where I realized, hey, wait a second, that was you having my back. That was you being good. I thought you're only good if things work out. But wait, no, you're so good that you won't let me go down a bad path here. And that totally switched things for me. Oh, Jeremy, sorry.
Hello, church. Landon, I am honored to bring and initiate some of those chemicals into your system right now with my question. And on Monday night, I had a prophetic vision of you bopping around your kitchen, and I saw a spouse that was joining you as you run into each other and you were both making something. So I'm asking, can you confirm that since you've been out in Colorado for 24 hours now, have you found that spouse yet?
I have not found that spouse yet. At least the Lord has not made that clear to me if I have. So, okay. Yeah, thanks for that. Becky has one?
Well, Becky is here now.
Okay.
Yes.
Your voice has changed.
Hey, I came in a little bit late. I just wondered if you had cited any of your sources on the material that you were giving. I would love to hear or read wherever you were reading on that, on the trauma response and all those kind of things. You have
Cite it. I can cite it. I can get that to you. I heard it from a TED Talk that got it from the Harvard study, so I can send that to you and send a couple of scripture references too.
That'd be awesome. Maybe put it in the chat or something, and I can look at that. That would be great. Thank you. Well, you tell somebody there, and they can.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. It is?
Great job. Thank you.
Okay. I have one more question. Okay. Is that okay?
Sure.
Pastime?
Have you wrestled between the difference of fear of God and fear, that makes you afraid?
That's a great question. I have a little bit. I don't know if I have the answer on that one though.
Okay. Something to work on, huh?
I've heard people say, it's really awe and not fear. But I wonder, here's one thought. I have no idea if this is on the right track or not, but if what you fear is the thing that you think is the most powerful person in the situation. So say we're most afraid of death, then we say that death is more powerful than God. Or if you're afraid of losing your job, you think that's more powerful than God. So if fear of God really means that you think that God is the only one who worthy of occupying that position, I think that might fit. So, yeah, great question.
Great.